Welcome to our next adventure with me, Jason. We're going to get right into the ultimate packing list for Virgin Voyages. Let's get to it. The first must-pack item on my list for Virgin Voyages has to be, without a doubt, a mobile power bank. Now, I want to explain why specifically for Virgin Voyages you want this, and I'll give you just another useful tip about how awesome it is to have one of these, and two things you need to look out for when making a purchase of one. And they do last a long time. It's probably the most expensive item I will be recommending on my list, but trust me, it is so worth it. Now, you're going to be using your phone probably more often than not. That means you're going to essentially find yourself going, oh, my phone's almost dead. I need to head back to the cabin to charge it. You don't want to be in that situation on Virgin Voyages for two important reasons. Number one, because obviously it's wasting time. You're heading back to your cabin, you're putting on the charger. But number two, I have found that the power outlets on Virgin Voyages ships are actually very slow, or they're not that high in voltage, and so it takes me longer to charge things. So having one of these is really useful because yes, it's not going to charge it instantly, but it's going to make sure that it charges, and you don't need to be beholden to your cabin at all times. Now, the other incredible thing about it is obviously when you're out at port for a long stop and you really want to go and enjoy yourself, the last thing you want to be doing is being very economic about using your battery on your phone, right? You're like, oh, I can't take photos now because I want to conserve it for later in case, etc. Well, if you've got one of these, you don't need to be making those kind of decisions anymore. You'll see something you want to take a photo of, take a photo. A video, record a video. You want to use Google Maps to figure out where to go, etc. All good. You don't need to find yourself in that situation where you say, oh, wow, we have 4 more hours left in this port, but my phone's on 20% and I can't remember how to get back without Google. I need to head over and start making my way back. No, you've got a mobile battery bank, so you can literally just keep charging your devices and really enjoy the full time of your port. And last but not least, you don't have to find yourself sitting at a cafe or hunting for power outlets to charge your phone. Now, the other incredible things about this, and it's the two things you really need to look out for when it comes to these that a lot of people overlook. Number one, of course, make sure you get a bigger one. You know, as far as the battery's bigger, that's better, because what will happen is you can charge it overnight, and it's probably the last time you need to charge it on the entire trip, even if you have tons of devices that you need to use to charge it with. Now, the other thing you want to look out for is that it has multiple ports, right? See those over there? That means the following. You see one socket in your cabin on Virgin Voyages? Great. You can literally pick one of the plugs, plug it into there, and charge this device. And then this device can charge several others that have a USB A, B, or C cable. Now, which cables you need, etc., is going to be down to what devices you find yourself using the most. And so when you're shopping for one of these online, make sure it's got multiple cables and sockets rather, to then be able to charge multiple devices on the go. And alternatively, that if you are on the go and somehow are able to charge it, you can just find almost any type of USB outlet port to just charge your battery bank. It's that simple. The second item I'm going to be recommending is one of these waterproof cases for your phones. Now, why do I think that they're so unbelievably useful? Oh, so many reasons. Let me explain. The first thing is for Virgin Voyages, right? You're going to be by the pond, which is what I call the pool because it's really tiny, or the X pond, which is the other one, and any of the hot tubs. Alternatively, if you're going to be in warm weather at each port stop, you might be going to swim. And ultimately, you don't want your phone to get wet because maybe you're scared it's going to break your phone. So by having one of these pouches, you're going to put that part at ease. Now, the other incredible thing about these is they make for turning your phone into a great underwater camera. Now, of course, if you're going to go scuba diving, be careful, these can't go super deep, or rather your phone cannot go that deep. And a bonus tip before I forget is that on Scarlet night, you obviously could have a situation where you want to jump into the pool with your phone, and so this allows you to do that. Speaking of Scarlet night, of course for Scarlet night, I do have the following tip when it comes to packing, and that is, yes, try and bring something red to wear for Scarlet night, but actually what I do recommend you do is consider bringing two outfits for Scarlet night, or two things you don't mind to wear on Scarlet night, and let me explain why. On Scarlet night, you're going to have the manor part of it, which is at the very end, and you're going to have the pre-pool party part of it, and obviously that is before you go to the pool. So in those moments, you're not at risk of getting drenched, which means if you want to wear something particular that, you know, maybe is very expensive or dear to you, that you don't want to get ruined by any water or pool water, etc., then you can wear that outfit for those parts. And then when you are heading up to the pool party segment, you might find yourself wanting to jump into the pool. It's almost like a rite of passage. Or you might just find yourself wanting to be close to the action, not get in the pool, but that might mean that you're going to get splashed and wet. So what you can do is when it's heading up to the pool party, there's usually some delay before everything gets started, more than enough time for you to quickly do an outfit change into something that you don't mind jumping into the pool with, or pond as I like to call it, or alternatively being near it, and if it gets wet, you're all good, because then afterwards, before the manor, you'll head back, change again into your previous outfit, and you're bone dry. The other thing is going to be PJs for the PJ party. Every first night of your sailing on Virgin Voyages is going to be the PJ party, and weather dependent will just determine if it's going to be at the very back of the ship by the athletic club, as it always is, or if it is going to be quite windy or stormy, then they'll do it indoors. But either way, that is going to be a guarantee on all your sailings, in which case consider bringing PJs specifically to be worn there. Another must-pack item is going to be a refillable water bottle of some sort. So for example, this one is a highly insulated one that keeps cold things cold for longer and hot things hot for longer too. Just something that you can put water, whether it's still sparkling or even soda that's on the ship, in there, because Virgin Voyages do not do water bottles. And unless you followed my embarkation tips and tricks, you're going to find it pretty difficult to find cans of sodas to go get. But either way, just get something that can hold a lot of it, and that way you don't have to keep going up and down. Trust me, you're going to really be upset if you forget that. So under my optional section, I have two things to mention. The first is going to be themed outfits for the manor parties each evening. So on Virgin Voyages, in the manor, their main club, or only club actually, you're going to see that they usually have these different themed kind of evenings for the music, etc. So there's Club Rubik's, which is like an 80s disco thing. There's We Fancy, tons of gold, etc. You do not need to wear gold outfits, especially if you're going on Facebook groups. You're going to see people talking about what is everyone wearing for We Fancy, etc. Don't stress. If you want to bring something to wear for that to fit the theme, go for it. Virgin didn't ever really intend for people to go and do that, right? They've always said you don't need to dress up for anything on Virgin Voyages. So if you want to rock up to dinner in shorts, you can. You want to go to PJ party in a suit, I mean, you can. Just not your birthday suit. And if you want to go to Scarlet night not wearing red or anything scarlet or maroon, guess what? You're not going to be sentenced or confined to your cabin or the brig. Second item under my optionals is a personal essential for me, but everyone's different, and that is going to be a waterproof bag. So you usually see them looking like this. You can buy them really inexpensively off of Amazon. And what you do is you put your items inside the bag, right? Throw them inside. They can be really big, these bags, so check what size it is that you order if you're going to get one. And then you just take it like that, you seal it, see like that. You roll it over a few times, right, which creates multiple, like basically pockets where it makes it difficult for water to get in, and airtight seals it. And then you just clip these two things together. And because your bag would be full, unlike the one I'm using now, you then would have a full-on bag, harness at the back, and you can carry it on your back like a backpack. And now to move on to my two major tips and tricks when it comes to your luggage or packing for Virgin Voyages sailing. The first thing is going to be consider using the onboard laundry services. Now, of course, it's one, because you want to have clean stuff, but more importantly, because it allows you to actually pack less stuff. What do I mean by that? If I'm going to the Caribbean on a 7-night sailing, right, instead of packing 7 nights worth or days worth of clothes for that particular sailing, I can say, I'll pack around 3.5 or 4 days worth, because once I get to the 3rd or 4th day, I will send any of my laundry in to be cleaned. And in that way, I have about 1 or 2 days worth of laundry to carry me over whilst the stuff gets cleaned without express services. It comes back and I can reuse that stuff for the remainder of my time on the ship. It means that I pack less. It means my suitcase weighs less, or that I need less suitcases when I go traveling. It's a major help. Even though it's going to cost you extra, it could save you a whole suitcase, which I find way better. And the second tips and trick that I have, of course, has to do with a towel. Now, of course, I'm not going to tell you to pack a towel for your cruise. That's ridiculous. But recently, Virgin Voyages have now put a nice little card in the cabins telling people that if any towels of yours go missing in your cabin, you may be subject to a charge of X many dollars for replacing that towel. Now, I know a lot of people are going to sit there and go, oh, I'm worried about taking the towel out, because then maybe my cabin attendant comes, they see there's no towel there, and they're going to put a charge that I've got to have this argument. I get that. So just do what I've done from the very first moment I went on a sailing, and I'm sure I'm not the only one. You go onto deck 14 or wherever it is that the pool or pond is, and you have all those towels there that you can take. They don't get monitored, etc. You take the towel, put it in your day bag, and you head out. Well, that's it for my Ultimate Virgin Voyages packing guide. Now, of course, I didn't go into detail about how many shorts or t-shirts or shirts to bring because that's very much down to you and your preferences. So I'll let you handle that and the other basics like your form of ID and passport, because Virgin Voyages is adults only. So I'm going to treat you like an adult and not like a child, even if on board maybe you sometimes behave like one. Anyway, that's it from me. I'll see you next time. Bye.